Okay, so I'm gonna get more insights and instincts and insights. So I get to talk about whatever I want. Okay, this is another thing, and I had to write some of this stuff down because it was dark. I mean, I lit some candles, but I could still write. There's nothing else to do but think. I just didn't want to forget some of the stuff that was coming to me. But anyway, so this whole thing to me is there's definitely like two completely different realities right now that are happening. And we have both sides completely are convinced that their side understands everything, that the other side is not understanding because they're just brainwashed. And so and I guess was a defector because I did leave the Democrat Party. There was that whole story. I was the beginning of the quarantine. Like I said, it's been 8 months for me. I'm in a blue state. That was the first state that locked down, the first state. And when they closed down the schools, I took it more seriously. My daughter, we had already just traveled internationally, and it was already, the whole COVID scare had already started. And there was people all over in the airport with masks on and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. But then it's always in your mind, like, they're going to do something serious, and they've released plenty of diseases before. You just don't know. I'm not really one of those people who's scared to death. But anyways, which by the way, I just recently learned that I went in to get an appointment for insurance. Insurance wants you to get checked when you get older. They got to make sure that you don't have some hidden thing that's gonna cost them a lot. So you have to go in and get these physicals once a year. And when I did, she said that in my age range that Hep C is an epidemic. So many people have it that I needed to be checked. So I was like, okay, well, I'm sure I don't have it, but go ahead. And so then when I went back in to talk to her, she's like, well, weird that you have antibodies. And I said, oh, well, I probably had a vaccine or something when I worked at the hospital. We had to get all that kind of stuff. And she's like, no, there's no vaccine for Hep C. That the only way that you can have the antibodies is that you had the disease. I was like, what? No way. And she goes, yeah, you had to have had Hep C. And you cured yourself. She said there's people who do it. It's not as common, but yeah, there's people who do it. And I was just like, weird. That is so weird. I feel like Superman. And then I have to go back in 6 months to make sure that I don't have any live virus. Reminds me back of the AIDS days. That was some scary times. And that's why I was just telling one of my daughters the other day, I have a hard time taking this serious. I lived through AIDS time. It was intense. God, that was intense times. And Ebola, when I was a nurse, jeez, I was scared to death of Ebola. That was like instantaneous. You come in contact and your eyeballs are bleeding and stuff. That was scary shit. Getting the flu. Anyway, so we went and we traveled in the airport and stuff, and I thought it was silly with all the masks and stuff, and I had people who were with me who had a mask on and stuff, and I just thought it was just kind of paranoid, kind of like phobic, like a phobia, like I'm scared of germs. And so once we went on our trip, we went to a destination wedding, and it was so fun. Came back and got home, and then it was like half the people in our party, not half, I would say a quarter of the people, and the closest members of the family got super sick when we got back, with all of them, which later ended up being all the symptoms that they said they had horrible breathing and chest things, and their lungs were killing them, and all the stuff that they had said. And they got sick, pretty sick. They were sick for a couple of weeks, and real sick. Where one kept going, I don't know if I should go to the hospital, but they were pretty sick. And then those of us who came in contact with them got a little bit sick, but not. I mean, I took vitamin C when I went to go take care of one of them. And I had to be in direct contact, because at that point, then like, okay, so they got COVID, even though nothing had happened here yet like that, but it was still being talked about. And so then I was like, well, I'm just going to just take as much of that energy or emergency and vitamin C and just load up while I'm there. I mean, what else am I going to do? I mean, she was super sick. So I went and took care of her. So then exactly in the 2-week period, then I got sick. But I know I started having like sore throat and everything. And then I thought, oh, great. Fuck, I don't want to be that sick. And then it did never go past that. It was like that for like 4 days, where you just kind of feel like yucky. I've been so much sicker with stuff, getting sick from sick people in the hospital. So yeah, that was nothing. And it's definitely not worth locking down a city and losing people's livelihood and stuff. Yeah. I think it has something to do with how, because how sick they all got, they obviously had a more direct, so it seems like it gets less, it gets weaker the more people it goes through, which is probably what herd immunity is, That's why we need it. I'm shocked at to me, the people who are not thinking about, the boy in the bubble made it made an impact on me. Working, having to learn about germs and working in the hospital and stuff, I learned, having patients that, old people who get sick, and then you have to start going through every antibiotic. No antibiotic will kill it, nothing. And they start calling it resistant, and then the bacteria becomes this super aggressive, and it kills them. And all of that stuff all of those things was all the use of antibiotics and stuff. That's why all of a sudden it was like, nope, nobody can have antibiotics anymore. Can't give them antibiotics because it messes with our immune system. And these masks really messing with people's immune system. They just have no idea. And when I see these people who are just cutting themselves off from every germ, it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, at your weakest point in your lives, when you were tiny babies, you were building up germs. You could handle it. If you seriously cannot handle a germ that's gonna kill you, you were not gonna make it that much longer. That's how nature works. And I could just go into that, because I believe that there's technology and resources and stuff that are being held back so that certain people can make money while other people die. But we're expendable. Doesn't matter, because, it's the people who are up there know there's reincarnation. They know it's just like, who cares? Come in, give us a body, move. They don't care. You toss you out of one, make you have to go get another one. They don't see it as huge value. It's just weird when you think about how, like, we look at cows and stuff. Not everybody, but some people. That's what we're looked at. Like, that's all we are to some beings, is just cattle, ignorant, stupid cattle. And right now there's a lot of sheep who just do whatever they're told. They don't stop and question it. I've been guilty of it, though, throughout my life. That's for sure. But, yeah, the wearing this, when you learn about wounds and stuff, you have to have them be out in the air, because you're trapping in it's like a petri dish with the moisture and stuff. and it starts making it its own little petri dish full of bacteria. And so when you have this on all day long and you build moisture in there and heat, perfect petri dish. And then you touch stuff. I mean, that's how I would have got hep C, right? Germs and stuff are not just out. I don't know how anybody doesn't understand. They don't come out of your nose and get on people. Germs aren't in our air, our breath. When you sneeze and they're coming out, it's mucus and stuff. Anyways, not that many things are airborne particles. I was always like, anyways, so you have this petri dish going, say you touch something and you get bacteria. So you got bacteria up here now and it's growing. And then you're breathing this stuff in spores and stuff that form in that. And you don't want to get spores in your lungs. But there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get a lot of these poor people, who have just tried to go and work, who have been mandated to wear these and been scared to death by movies and manipulation, indoctrination, completely used to manipulate people's minds. So then when they do these triggers, people panic, and you got all these people panicking. And but all these mandates, government mandates, and that people wearing these masks, I've seen where people have gotten these what are they called, like staph infections around there. But also the stuff that breathing all that stuff in all day like that is I've never been in the ER where the doctors wear masks like that. Like at the hospital, you don't wear masks like that. You don't put a mask on when you go to work. You just walk through the hospital all day long trying to keep everybody's germs off of you. There's a few rooms that you may have. I haven't even had that many. I mean, maybe a couple times a month. Now it's probably all the time. But before, a couple times a month, you went into a room and had to put a mask on, and it was usually to protect them so that they didn't get any of your germs, because they had a compromised immune system, usually late stage cancer and stuff. But I've never been in surgery and seen what goes on with the doctors with the masks, if they change the masks, if they have them change them, if they pull them out, like, I don't know. And I don't know if doctors are more prone to lung infections or anything. I don't know any of the facts on that. I just know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have, and then these people who think that cutting themselves off from every germ out there are weakening their immune system. You got to build your immune system. You don't weaken it. I mean, I remember back before, and it might still be a thing, but when my kids were little, if somebody's kid got chickenpox, it'd be like a chickenpox party. Everybody wanted to bring their kids over there so that their kids would get it, so they could hurry up and get it over with or whatever, because it's so much better when you're younger. The people who get it when they're older get so sick. But so many sicknesses that people get that are so much worse than what this one is, and that they've fought through it, but somehow they're just convinced that. And it's so crazy how, but you can doctor the numbers, you can mess with them, you can, all this manipulation with the numbers, and then, I mean, keep putting out all different ones, keep changing them, but when you go and look into it, and you see that it is very manipulated from what the actual stats are to what is being said. It's very manipulated information. It's really a shame. You know, I really hate when I see people who are so scared, and you can't talk any sense into them. They're so tied into this narrative. This really makes me sad. To me, this is, I gotta start another one. Hold on.